The next energy from spirit regarding this, how do you kind of deal with this electricity that's coming through these light codes that are both opening and activating us, but also potentially overwhelming us? And one of the things that came through is that perfectionism is not going to lead us where we would desire, but in fact will steer us from that. And Spirit also mentioned, including believing that we know what others should be doing. So this is not only having these perfectionist tendencies for ourselves, but kind of projecting that onto others. We're also encouraged to notice any anxiety or obsessive habits or thoughts that may be coming back and cycling over and over, as well as energies of scrutiny or feeling like we are not good enough, knowing that that is kind of the shadow of some of the frequencies that are coming through, this feeling that nothing that we're doing can measure up. And this is why we're encouraged that we must connect to something greater than ourselves in order to make a meaning of what is coming next. And once again, here, Spirit had me mention the weave, where we are learning through receptivity and through meeting ourselves daily, in that connection with God, so that it's becoming a living prayer. It's not just that we are praying, a minute here and meditating 10 minutes there. We're living life in this constant flow of action and receptivity, but action within the Holy Spirit. So we're moving when the Spirit tells us to move, not when fear tells us to move. And that's what we're really being encouraged to flow into during this time of the squeeze. And the lyrics during this next section was, sometimes I get this feeling I was breathing someone else's air. And this sense from Spirit that a lot of humanity is just going to have this moment of like, shit, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't want to even go here tomorrow. I don't want to take one more step in this direction. This feeling that they had been breathing someone else's air this whole time, or living someone else's dream. And that this tidal wave, and interestingly, the title of this song is Tidal, Tidal. This tidal wave of energy, of frequency that is coming, is not going to allow us to breathe someone else's air any longer. It's not going to allow us to live a version of our lives that is not authentic and true to who we really are. And we will begin to see symptoms, if we are not already, in the physical body, as our light body and the planetary body shift in our orientation towards this grander destination. And Spirit, even asked here, for those of you that are on the call tonight or in the replay, if you want to put into the chat anything that you've been noticing or you have noticed others experiencing, because we can always get our eyes and awareness on it and kind of come together on the after part of the call to just do some prayers and blessings and intentions of swift integration, because this is, a hard process sometimes on the human parts of the personality self, and especially the physical body and the mental and emotional bodies as they change from, one aspect to another. So what are you experiencing? What have you noticed other people experiencing? Feel free to post that in the chat if you are feeling called. We're asked and challenged to accept things as they are. So the human personality self has, a tendency to have an idea of what's going to happen, try to, build our way toward it, and then get disappointed or, go through all sorts of, low vibration feelings or reactions about, it not going our way. And, here comes back to the phrase of man plans, God laughs, particularly over the next 3.5 to 4 months. This is a tight squeeze energetically for humanity, and we will all feel it in our own way. And so this challenge to accept things as they are, to be in the flow, is going to allow us to be in joy. It's going to allow us to connect to play and to being in the inner child. If we are in projecting our future, I just heard the phrase world of hurt. So this feeling that, any mental projections right now are kind of castles in the sand. And the lyrics here to support that on Pandora, as I was writing this, were, it's stormy in the sea tonight. So just understanding that we're in an energetic storm right now, and we can be in the eye of it. We're being given all the tools to actually have a really joyful way through it, but we can also be tossed around quite a bit. And Spirit just giving us this moment of awareness, so that when we start to feel these feelings, we can say, oh, okay, like I already was, given this. I already knew that this was coming, and I can just sort of, ride this wave. I can actually step into the world and engage it without expectations, and know that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And Spirit really wanted me to bring up this idea of the simulation tonight, or this feeling of like all the world's a stage. And also, if you're, a child of the 80s and the 90s, we had all the choose your own adventure novels. And Spirit said, this is a choose your own adventure, or have it chosen for us. So we're really in this place once again of, are you going to be thinking and feeling and intuiting for yourself? Or are you going to be kind of digesting and percolating on the narratives that are going to be served up to us left and right? And particularly, notice the frequency of these narratives. Are they divisive? Are they meant to separate? Because once you pull back and don't have an emotional attachment to the simulation, it becomes very easy to unravel it very quickly, especially with the discernment of the Holy Spirit. Spirit acknowledges that when we are connected to Source, our inner divinity, and the greater weave, we bypass this manufactured matrix and the narratives being offered to us by the low frequency beings who must manipulate and utilize our creativity and life force. So once again, it comes back to, these are God mimics. These are not beings that still have the divine life force where they are able to create on their own. So if we pull the power away, if we're no longer giving them our energy and our emotions, because they feed off of our human fear, our adrenaline, particularly in a, what we would, to the human self feel very negative to the human body. It's very delicious to this powers that were, we'll call it just the energy system that keeps that predator prey mentality going, because it serves and feeds them. So once again, just that connection to our inner divinity, and to remembering that this glamour does not have to be something that we are giving our energy to, or believing in, and that just simply living our lives in our alignment is going to radiate that light and kind of break the spell for others and those around us.